Rather than talking about a demographic problem, I think we need to talk about a demographic transition. So even if China sees a reduction in its work age population by 200 million people, it will still have a working age population that is larger than all of the working populations across all developed economies in the world put together. So with the right investment, that's still a hugely powerful asset in terms of human capital to drive an economy forward. So it's part of China's success story in terms of the socioeconomic development that it's achieved over the last 20, 30 years. So what we see is that when economies develop, more women enter the labour force, they become better educated. At the same time, couples are choosing to have fewer children because there's no longer that fragility and insecurity of life. They start to focus much more on a smaller number of children and doing the best for them. You start to have lower fertility. At the same time, because of better education, better health, better nutrition across the life course, then people also live longer. So this is actually a success story. And it's more about how can economies and governments respond to this demographic transition in a way that allows economies to continue to grow and societies to continue to develop. One of those is called the silver economy. As you have this growing, aging population, they have specific needs that the market can respond to. So new products, new innovations, new services. And so we see a market growth in that area. And the second opportunity that economists see is a potential longevity dividend. So the idea being that if you have invested in having a healthy older population, and if you have removed barriers such as stigma and discrimination against older people, and you really put policies in place to enable that those who want to work for longer, you can actually reap an economic dividend from that. When we think about women in the workforce in the context of low fertility and ageing, and those two very often go together, there's, I think, two things that we really need to talk about. So first of all, women are finding it impossible to resolve the conflict between work and having a family. We very often talk about responses to low fertility in terms of what happens in the workplace and the policies around the workplace, but we really need to look at what's happening in the domestic sphere, what's happening at home. And so we see in many economies that where men start to play a much more active role in terms of childcare and household chores and really taking a more equal burden, then actually couples will be more willing to consider having an additional child. And this is relevant to China because in China we've had a survey that shows that actually on average women do 2.6 times more time spent on domestic work than men. And so there's a lot of opportunity there to change that. I think the second point to be made about women in the workforce with an ageing population is we need to make sure that for women who are choosing to have children and then choosing to take time away from work to bring up those children, that they don't see a negative impact on their careers and they don't see a negative impact on their earnings. If we look to countries that are experiencing low fertility, you will actually find a lot of focus going on within national borders and within national policies to address low fertility. And actually there is no one solution that will take a country back up to a replacement level of 2.1 children per woman. But what we do know, based on experiences from other countries, is that there are a series of policies, investments that can be made that can be very valuable in enabling those women and their partners who want to have children to be able to do so. So we see policies and investments around leave, so maternity leave, paternity leave, longer parental leave. We see policies around ensuring that there is high quality, affordable childcare. But it's important that those policies are designed in a certain way. So it's really important that when we start designing policies to provide parental leave so that working parents can spend time with children when it's needed, we need to make that equally available to both mothers and fathers.